Hey, I'm Anna and I used to have anorexia. Insert obvious name pun here. So I'm going to do a little review of Netflix's To the Bone, which is a movie about a young woman with anorexia nervosa. First things first, this review is going to be spoiler heavy, but more importantly, I'm going to be discussing anorexia in depth, also a bit about my experiences with the disorder, so it could be triggering. Right, let's dive in. First of all, I thought I was going to hate this film. I saw the trailer and I thought it was just going to be a sort of rom-com with a bit of mental illness as a plot device, and she was going to meet the boy, fall in love, get cured, and I thought it was going to be really unrealistic. But actually, what I took from it was that it was a really realistic portrayal of what it can be like to suffer from anorexia. On a personal level, I related a lot to the main character, and her story felt very reminiscent of my own experiences with the disorder. This won't apply to everyone. People experience things differently. Not all people with anorexia are the same. Not everyone has the same experiences. But I'm just going to jump in with why I related to it and thought it was quite realistic. I liked that it showed some of the true actual effects of what it can be like to have an eating disorder. I don't think it shied away from things. For example, her obsessing over the calorie content of things. That's certainly something that I used to do, and anorexia can take on that very obsessive quality. Again, not everyone with anorexia will obsess over calories. But yeah, for me, I related to that. I also liked that it didn't shy away from that full brutality almost of seeing her very, very skeletal frame. For me, that was quite shocking, and it also brought back quite a lot of memories of when I used to look like that. So I think for people that are maybe new to being in recovery or are still struggling with an eating disorder, it might not be best to watch this because it could be quite triggering. But sort of I was able to watch it from a process of I've been recovered for 3-4 years now, so I had some distance, and I think that made it easier, although I still struggled with it. Another thing I'd like to say is I think if you have been personally affected by an eating disorder, maybe take some time and care if you're going to watch this. Sort of maybe watch it with somebody else. I watched it with my mum, who's always been very supportive of me. Also, again, I had to pause it quite a lot because I was getting quite emotional. It took me about 3 hours to watch it. So yeah, maybe make sure you're in the right mindset to watch it. Aside from the realism, another bit that I really liked is I don't think it glamorized an eating disorder, because it would have been really dangerous if it had done. But I feel like it showed the real horrendousness of it. I certainly didn't come away from this film thinking, oh, anorexia looks fun, because it's not fun. And let me tell you, there's nothing glamorous about it. Like your hair falling out of your head, but also like growing on your body as like fur to keep you warm. And I think they mentioned that in the scene where he was examining her. So like I liked that bit as well. Another thing I really liked about this film was that it was funny. I didn't think a film about anorexia would make me laugh, but it did a lot. There were some really witty one-liners in there. There was some quite dark humour. I know that's not going to be to everybody's taste, and some of the jokes were quite near the mark. But for me, I've got quite a dark sense of humour, and I often used to use that when I was struggling with my eating disorder. So I liked that. As well as the dark humour, I think there was also some genuine sort of warmth in some of the scenes, which was quite a contrast considering the quite dark subject matter. So I liked that as well. But obviously it's a film about a very serious mental illness, and it's not all sunshines and roses. So they did have some really hard-hitting bits in as well, especially the character who was pregnant and ended up having a miscarriage. And I think that was quite important to show that sort of reality of this quite serious consequences that an eating disorder can have. Because I mean, not for everybody. Some people will have an eating disorder and it won't affect their fertility, but some people will. I mean, certainly for me, sort of fertility, it can be affected by an eating disorder. So I think it was good to put in a miscarriage scene. So I'm gonna jump right in with some bits that I really liked about the film. Some scenes that really stood out for me. One of which was the scene where she was drinking a lot of water before a weigh-in to try and it was implied that she was doing it to try and raise her weight, which is something I used to do before every weigh-in. By the way, if anybody watching this is struggling with an eating disorder, don't do this. The nurses cotton on, they've seen it all before. If your weight is suddenly way up from last time, they'll know this is why. So yeah, I could really relate to that. I really liked the scene where she was eating the chocolate. I could see, I think the actress did it wonderfully. I could see that fear in her face, and I could almost imagine her thought processes behind it. And that really brought back a lot of memories for me from when I was very scared of food. In the way that other people would maybe be scared of spiders. It was a real fear for me. So I think there was a brilliant job in that scene of conveying the fear that a lot of people with an eating disorder can have around food. Again, it's maybe not like that for everyone. So I think the film did benefit actually a lot from the fact that people involved in making it had experienced eating disorders themselves, so they were coming at it from personal experience. So I think that helped with the realism. Another thing I want to discuss is the love story, which I thought I was going to hate, but actually I didn't. I think it was quite nicely done. I think it made sense, really, that two vulnerable young people sort of thrown together might form this sort of quite codependent relationship. So I actually think it kind of worked. But also I like the fact that he wasn't portrayed as this saviour character. She certainly railed against that he was trying to do that. Another scene that really spoke to me was when he was trying to get her to eat and she ended up lashing out at him, because I certainly, from my experience of an eating disorder, I used to lash out at people a lot when I felt self-conscious around food. So yeah, I liked the fact that it wasn't oh, love can save you, because honestly, falling in love, it's not going to cure an eating disorder. It doesn't work like that. There's not a magic and you're cured. For many people, it's a process, and overcoming an eating disorder is hard work a lot of the time. Which leads me on to talking about the ending, which I really liked, because I'd have hated it if suddenly, magically like that, she was cured, because I wouldn't have found that realistic. Often for a lot of people, recovery is a process and there's step backs along the way, and you don't suddenly just magically be cured overnight. So I liked that it ended with her sort of committing to giving it a go, sort of to trying to get better. I think that was much more realistic than ending with her actually suddenly being recovered. So just a few last thoughts. Yeah, I really liked this film. Not everyone is going to. Yeah, I found it realistic, but again, some people may have experienced an eating disorder, watch this film and can't relate to it at all, because it's such a broad, there's so many different stories. Everyone's experience is going to be different. But yeah, I think I'd recommend watching it personally, but I think, yeah, it would depend on where people are in a place of recovery. If it's too raw, you know, maybe don't put yourself through it. But I think, yeah, try and, if you are watching it, try and do it in as safe an environment as you can. And I just sort of wanted to say, you know, if anyone's even watching this, if people that are watching it have experienced or are experiencing an eating disorder, you know, maybe try and resist, and I know this is going to be hard, that temptation to like compare yourself to the character. This is one story, and it's not everyone's story, and yet there's no right or wrong way to have had an eating disorder. And yeah, also if you are watching it and you are triggered by it, that's normal. Don't you know, beat yourself up over it. Yeah, I guess just generally just watch with caution maybe. Be kind to yourself. I mean, that goes for everyone. Just, you know, be kind to yourself, cut yourself some slack. And yeah, I'm going to wrap this up now because I'm rambling a bit. But, you know, if you watched, thank you for watching. And yeah, I hope you took something from this.